Hi, I'm Yagi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all. Family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yagi Project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. Hello. Welcome back to the Yagi Project. Today's episode is all about acceptance. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because nobody really talks about acceptance of the way things are on a personal and a business development podcast. Because we always want more. We want to accomplish more. We want more revenue. We want more of everything as we're developing. But the acceptance of the way things are is very, very important in order for us to work on accomplishing more and getting to our end goal. Because if we are not accepting the way things are, and we're always only striving to reach that goal or that next level, we are going to be unhappy. And when we are unhappy, we are not going to be able to get to our goal. So it is very, very important to understand this mentality and accept it and really live in this acceptance world in order for you to be successful. Because you guys know on the Yagi Project, all we focus on is personal and business development to lead to us the ultimate goal of living a happy and ideal life for ourselves, not for what other people think that success and happiness looks like for them, but for us to really be true to ourselves and define what that happiness ideal life is for us and how to get there. Now, we always hear this saying, enjoy the journey, not the destination. It's about the journey, not the destination. And a lot of times we forget this, and I've been guilty of this a lot in the past because I've always wanted to be accomplishing certain goals. If it was getting my bachelor's degree, getting my master's degree, starting a business, hitting X amount in revenue, right? It's just never good enough. And we're working so hard and we're just hustling and really doing the work day to day, and we're not enjoying it. Instead, we're really working hard to get to this goal, and we enjoy it and are excited for that one moment that thing is accomplished, and then back to stressing out and really working hard in order to achieve the next thing. And that's partially the fault of the way we are in this society. It's how we were raised, it's our beliefs, it's in our culture, and it's wrong. We need to really, really understand this in order for us to be happy. And like I said, unless we are happy with accepting the way things are and we learn some tools to figure out how to accept the way things are, we're never going to reach the next level. So I know we try to work hard and we really want to get to where we want to get. We want to accomplish our goals, but acceptance of the way things are today is really key. If it is accepting the way your business is, or if it is accepting the way you are physically, or if it is even accepting the way you are in your relationships, right? So one main way of how we're conditioned to always want more and never feeling enough is literally by consumerism and advertising. You never see an ad where it says, you are enough, you are happy even if you don't buy this product. It's always making us feel like unless we have something or unless we accomplish a certain status, we are not going to be complete. We're missing that. We need to aim to be there, to be that person or have that thing. So it is really, really one thing to pay attention to. It's kind of fun actually too, once you're aware of this, to pay attention to advertising. That's really how it works. They really try to make you feel like you're not good enough and unless you have this thing or unless you feel this way, right? But on this podcast, on this episode, I want to talk about the opposite of that. I want all of us to really be happy what we have. So another huge thing in our culture is comparison with social media or social media. Another huge thing that's a problem in order for us to feel complete and accept the way things are is social media. Social media is amazing. I love social media, but we need to make sure that we're using it properly and how it's going to suit us as a person, as a business, and as a soul. Now, comparison on social media is another reason why we are conditioned to always want more and never be satisfied. It's because it's always showing us people who are doing more or people who have more, and then we want to get there. It's just almost human nature. If we're conditioned to want to be a certain way, if we keep seeing a certain thing, we are going to be conditioned to want that. And another huge problem with that is, of course, on social media, everybody highlights the top things, right? And a lot of people, another problem with that is on social media, people usually show the positive in their life. So whatever you're seeing is always the best and greatest polished moments of somebody. Then you think that's their life and that's how you want your life to be. But the reality of it is nobody's life is perfect. Everybody has problems. And some people that show these fancy vacations and all of the crazy gadgets and outfits and luxurious things, it is advertising. It's not somebody just doing that because it's causing them happy. No, hold on. Let's scratch that. Why am I having such a hard time with this? And on social media, honestly, it is curated to show the best. Everybody shows their best foot forward. It's always their polished best moments in their lives. So that's what we think is real. That's what we think our life should be all the time. But we forget that everybody has the best moments and the worst moments. And a lot of times people don't share their worst moments. And that's hopefully slowly changing as a culture. But that is another reason why we're always wanting more. It's because it's dangled in front of us that this is what we need and this is what we're missing when we see it so much around the world. And honestly, sometimes I think the simple times how people lived in a small village where they had no access to internet or even transportation to go to further places, and they knew this is what they had to work with, and they accepted that it was not a possibility. It almost probably was a happier time in people's lives, because unfortunately these days we have access to so much resources. We have access to so much information, to so many places that we can go destination wise, global business, right? But we are not satisfied. We are unhappy. It's almost like the more we think that we can accomplish and achieve and reach, the more we want it. But then it never ends. It's never enough. We always want more and more and more because we think it's available. Now, I am a big believer of abundance and that we can accomplish everything that we want, but it's a really fine line of really wanting everything truly for yourself, to your truth of what's going to make you happy, compared to what you think society wants you because of the advertising, because of the social media, because of everything you have access to. And I like to always compare this to a relationship, right? I'm married. I love my husband. And once I found him and we, of course, got married, you stop looking. You just want to accept and be happy with what you have. Because if I keep dating, I keep looking for other people, probably, maybe I'm going to find somebody that's better than him out there. There's so many options, but I have to accept with what I have and be happy with that. And instead of searching for always more. Now, I don't know if that's the best example, but that's an example that kind of makes you think, okay, yeah, that's kind of true. You don't do that, and if we can apply that same things in our business or in our personal lives, in anything, then we're going to be much happier what we have. Now, if my relationship with my husband is lacking certain things, I'm not saying I'm just going to accept it and just not be happy with that aspect of it. I can work on it. But if I accept the way that things are right now, then I can work on accomplishing whatever I need to in my relationship or in my business or in my personal belongings, material things, right? Another good example would be really a simple material thing. I could give you an example, and I've talked about it in the past too, is your car. So let's say you really hate your car. It's an old car. You really want a new car. So your goal is to really have a shiny brand new car. But you are always negative and you're unhappy with your car. Your car always breaks down and you have problems and all this stuff. Now, a way to really accept what you have and appreciate what you have is really just saying, okay, I have this car. It gets me from point A to point B, even though it's not maybe 100% reliable, but it's 90% reliable. You want to appreciate that. And that's almost also kind of like the gratitude and law of attraction too. If we appreciate and are happy with what we have and accept it, then we're going to be able to attract and get more and better. But if we're just always in that negative frequency, negative emotions, we're never going to elevate. So that's also why it's really important to accept the way things are. Now, another example I could give you guys is our appearance. So right now, let's say I don't like the way I look. It could be my weight, it could be my skin, it could be my hair, it could be anything that I don't like the way I look. And if every day I'm telling myself I hate how heavy I am, or I hate my skin, oh, my hair is so short or damaged, or the way it looks, all this stuff, if I'm so negative about it, every day I'm going to be looking at myself and pretty much do negative self-talk and be unhappy with my physical appearance. And if that's the case, we're already starting out our day and going out through our day feeling not good enough. But instead, we want to accept everything as it is. Even if you think you are not ideal the way you look, and maybe people are judging you in your opinion, but the reality is nobody else matters, and most likely other people don't care. You're the one who's causing the damage to yourself. Now, this is also why confidence is key in anything. And haven't you wondered, why do some people, you wonder, why does this not ideal looking girl with this perfectly model looking guy, right? It's because she loves herself and she accepts the way she is, even if some things may not be perfect. And that is so attractive to other people, that happiness, that energy, that acceptance of the way I am. And even if something's not perfect, let's say my nose is not perfect, overall, I love myself and the way I look, then you're going to be attracting people and you're going to be attracting positive things into your life. That's why a lot of times in dating too, they say confidence is key. And then sometimes you'll see the most beautiful model looking people alone and sad, and you wonder why. Or in your head, you don't even think about it. You may think, oh, I'm lacking X, Y, and Z. That is why I'm alone. Or that is why I don't love myself or the way I look. But all of that is irrelevant. Honestly, it all starts within and with you accepting it. And the way you could do that is literally do positive self-talk. So if it takes you to sit in front of the mirror and tell you, I love myself, I love myself, I love my hair, I love my body, even though it's not ideal, I love it. It gets me, through the day, I am able to walk. Anything that you can think that could be positive self-talk about yourself is great. It's going to put you in a more positive state of mind. Then you're going to also be more encouraged to work towards your goal. Now, I'm not saying if you hate something, just accept it and don't do anything about it, right? But I'm saying is accept the way things are instead of complaining about it. Find the positive in it and then work towards to what you want to accomplish. Ideally, you want to be very true to yourself and take society out, take what your mom wants, take what your friends want, take out what anybody would want for you to be or look like or accomplish, and sit down and first decide what that is for you. And then obviously from where you are at this point, accepting and loving yourself and your business and everything the way it is, you make baby steps and you make small actionable steps in order to get to your next step. But the whole point is enjoying the journey, not hating yourself, your life, your business until it's at its ideal place. Have fun with it. Honestly, life is too short. And I know that's like cliche to say, but it really is. It goes by so quickly. And if we don't enjoy the journey at the end of it, what's left? We're literally going to die. And I don't know what happens after we die, but nothing else is going to matter, right? If we weren't unhappy, you don't know when your last day is. And if you're not going to accomplish that goal that's gonna, or have that thing that's really gonna cause you joy, what, are you just gonna be unhappy the whole time? So it's very kind of I don't know. It's to me, it's very sad to see how people live these days, and that certain things is what they're looking for in order to say, "Okay, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm satisfied," instead of really accepting the way things are and just finding the joy in the day to day, right? Even in the little moments, little things that we can appreciate, there's always something if you really look hard enough. Okay, we got kind of off topic, but let me go to the next thing of why else we're conditioned to want more. It's not our fault, right? But if we're aware of it at least, then we can do something about it. Little by little, we start to change our mentality. And that's kind of what the Yegi Project is about. That's what I've been doing with myself. And I could tell you my life is night and day from me living kind of miserably to super happily to, of course, there's always ups and downs, but generally, if you change your mentality and the way you look at things, even the worst thing that happens to you, you can still be happy at that moment and choose to see it as a blessing somehow. And hopefully that will make sense as you guys kind of follow along the Yegi Project and shape your mentality to really get there and really think about life and happiness and business and goals in this way. Because we do have to be the right person, mentality, skill-wise, in order for us to run a successful business and have a happy life. So that's why I couldn't just pick one to focus on having a successful business, making a lot of money. Because if you're not the right person and you're unhappy, who cares? Why does that even matter, right? A lot of people think money will cause them happiness, and being rich, having all these luxurious things will cause them happiness. But think about it. There are so many super wealthy people that commit suicides, that are unhappy, that have 10 failed marriages, that are just not great relationships with their kids and don't have great friends that are there for them, a society. So it really does not equal that. So I hope this is a wake-up call for those of you that are waiting to really enjoy life and accept the way that things are and not just wait until you reach an X amount of goal, which if it's financially or personally. Another example I can give you guys of why we are also conditioned to always want more is because our culture in school, in our society, we're always conditioned that accomplishment equals success. Right? So if we get the better grades, if we get the bachelor's degree, if we get the master's degree, we get the better job, if we get the bigger house, if we have the better car, all of this equals accomplishment and success. But does it really? Do we really have to look at it that way? Or can we just feel what success means to us in our own world and not the bigger and better? Can we just really decide what success looks like for us and just be happy with that and accept that? I don't know. I mean, I personally have always wanted more, but I've been really working on just being really happy with where I am and still wanting more. That's kind of been my hack. So for example, there's this ideal dream home that I want, and I have the pictures on my dream board and everything, but I still love my house. My house is still decluttered and organized. It serves us. It fits our kids. We remodel and move things around to kind of accommodate to what we need, and found a way to make our current house our home until maybe I could get my dream home. I don't say, oh, I hate this house, it's too small, we don't fit, it's not enough space, so there's so much clutter everywhere, I'm gonna wait until I get a new house to declutter, or I don't know, X, Y, and Z, right? So I think it takes a lot of work for us to change our mentality, but awareness is where it starts. Once we're aware of the different options of the way we can look at things and accept the things that are in our current life, then we're going to be so much happier, right? And I'm going to go back to relationships too. I kind of talked about that, but even with the people in our lives, if it's a romantic relationship or if it's a parent-child or if it's a friend relationship, just know that you have to accept the people the way they are in your life. with the good, the bad, the ugly, because none of us are perfect, and you need to understand them. Everybody's gone through different things in lives and has shaped them to be who they are, and you have to accept them the way they are in your life in order for you to be happy. You can't try to change people. You can try to shape people. You can influence them by working on yourself and trying to do better, be better yourself. And if they see that and they get influenced and they get encouraged to do it themselves, by all means. But you can't push people to change. I think that's also something I've learned the hard way, to just accept people the way they are and really see the good in them no matter what. And they're not the same as us. Nobody's the same as you because they haven't gone through the same exact experiences in life and things as you. So accept them the way they are and don't expect them to be just like you. And that is okay. I think this will make you ultimately so happy and so relieved that, hey, it's okay. You know, I'm okay the way I am. You're okay the way you are. Let's just use each other's strengths and weaknesses to, you know, accomplish X, Y, and Z. If it's in a personal relationship, it's in a business relationship and whatnot. So the next thing is the acronym FOMO, or fear of missing out. And I really used to have FOMO. I did not want to miss anything. I didn't want to miss a party. I didn't want to miss an event. I didn't want to miss on any education I could grab. I didn't want to miss out on anything. And honestly, I thought that was exciting. The stress was kind of fun because I was always part of something. I never felt left out until it got so exhausting. And I realized, hey, it's okay. Do I really want to go to this party just because all my friends are going to it? Do I really need this extra certification just because it sounds attractive? Is it going to benefit me in any way? I started questioning. And then I realized that less is more. And I was just reading, currently the book I'm reading is Limitless by Jim Quick, and he talks about the brain and how we can optimize it. And I'm reading it mainly for the benefit of having a better memory with people's names. That's a weakness I have. I wanted to find a way, and that's the book I came across. Anyways, what he talks about there is JOMO, the joy of missing out. And I really loved that. There really is a joy of missing out if you look at it that way. So if I don't go to a certain thing, the joy is that I'm focusing on myself and I can relax if that's the case in my own house. Or if I don't even have all these luxury items, then I have the joy of not worrying about it. Sometimes that's why the saying comes, more money, more problems, because the more money you have, honestly, it is a lot more headache sometimes. You do have to manage it. You have to figure out how to do it. You have to think about your taxes, how to save, what to invest in. It just gets a lot. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a great thing. But there's also a joy in missing out and enjoying what you have currently, right? So certain things I'm totally okay with missing out on now if it doesn't lead to my ultimate goal, right? So I'll go back to kind of the core value and goals and purpose that we have. That is so important. And I've talked about that in a different episode. But first of all, you want to be very clear on what your ultimate goal is, right? And what your ultimate purpose is. So now figuring out your purpose is hard sometimes. So I would say if you don't know your purpose already, sure, work on it, but don't stress out about it. For this conversation, all you need to know is you want to clarify your goal, your ultimate goal, and the way you can kind of be okay with the way things are and accept it instead of having the fear of missing out. You say, okay, is this thing going to lead to a step closer to my goal? Right? An example would be my ultimate goal right now. The most important goal to me is to be able to travel the world with my whole family in 5 years, to go to a new country, let's say every 3 months or 6 months, and get to know the culture, the people, and really kind of dive into that country. Now, that's my ultimate goal. Now, if today what I'm doing is, for example, recording this podcast, is this going to lead for me to be able to accomplish that goal? If the answer is yes, if it's one of my actionable steps in order to get there, then I'm going to go ahead and spend my time on it. If the answer is no, then more likely I'm okay missing out and not doing it. But there's an exception to that. We do also want to do some things that are just purely for fun. It's not just to accomplish the goal. So if I'm going to do something that's self-care or hang out with my friends and socialize, I think those two things that cause happiness and joy to me without thinking about anything else, where I could really be present and enjoy that moment. And I think that's key. The things that are going to give you just pure enjoyment in the moment for your self-care or to, spend time with friends, socialize, relationship building, all those things are totally okay to want to do just to disconnect. But of course, we want to also limit those. And that's really going to depend on your availability and kind of your preference. But for me, what I do is at least I do the personal self-care time once a week and then the friend socializing thing twice a week. And it does not have to mean anything. And it does not have to lead to my goals, but anything else I'm okay saying no to and missing out on unless it's a step towards my goals. Now, how can this belief of always wanting more really affect us? Okay, so to summarize, if we are always looking to have more, and this is kind of what we're naturally conditioned to want, unless we realize it and work on it, it really affects our beliefs and it really makes us wanting to get validation from outside sources instead of within us, because that's what we're conditioned to do. So be aware of this and really try to go within instead of looking for validation outside, like acceptance from other people because you have X, Y, and Z or are doing X, Y, and Z. Let me touch upon the busyness aspect too. We talked about how we can kind of distinguish what we're putting our time and energy into and not just going with the culture of missing out. But there is a clear thing that we also need. But there's also one thing people make But there's also a big thing that people make a mistake on instead. So how do we break this cycle? If we do realize that we are conditioned to always want more and things are never good enough, then we want to practice these following things in order to break that cycle. So we've already talked about gratitude. So gratitude is huge in being grateful for how things are currently and what you have currently. Second thing is stepping back and questioning your beliefs. So why do you want this thing? If you do want it or if you do accomplish it, how is it going to make you feel? Do you really want it, or is it just something that you've been conditioned to want? Is it going to change your life in any way? Is it going to make you fulfilled in any way? So if you just pause and ask these questions, you could really get to the bottom of it, if it's a goal or a material thing that you need, or if it's not really going to make a difference. You're just thinking about the future and it's not going to cause any happiness in the present. So another huge thing that you could do is focus on being instead of doing. Just be in the moment. So journaling to really figure out who you are, what you want, mindful practice, meditation, all these things will help you be more in the present and really kind of go within instead of just doing and feeling like you are just so busy trying to get to, probably you don't even know where you're trying to get to. Focus on being instead of doing. So instead of measuring things with your accomplishments, measure it with who you are and how you feel. And this could really help with journaling, meditation, mindfulness practice to really go within instead of trying to get validation from outside sources. We touched upon the next thing, but really you want to reframe your success. What does success mean to you, but not an outside external factor, but within. What is really going to fulfill you emotionally and your personal growth and development, and also what's going to cause you happiness compared to just thinking of X, Y, and Z in material or financial or success. We also want to embrace simplicity because we all know minimalism is a thing. It actually works. It helps us declutter our minds. The less material things we have, the more organized and clean our space is, the more simple we try to live. Honestly, the happier we will be. And I am sure of this because I've tried it. And sometimes when I think about certain things that may seem luxurious, it also is overwhelming. So simplicity is really key for me, at least, in order for me to stay present and be happy with what I have and accept things. We always think, a lot of times we always think, not always and a lot of times. A lot of times we think that, no. A lot of times we overthink and complicate things more than they have to be. Things could really be simple. Now, if we really want to learn acceptance, we need to change from judgment to observation. We need to learn to observe and accept things the way they are and not criticize and not judge because they're not exactly how we want them to be. It's very powerful to just let things be as they are and accept that that's for you. The universe, God is doing whatever is happening for you and accept it the way it is. Don't try to criticize or change it. We really need to recognize that things don't have to be exactly the way that we want them to be. It's okay for them to look a little different. It may be for the greater good for the future. Now, another way of acceptance is changing your narrative, changing the way you talk to yourself. So if something horrible is happening or if something's happening that is not to your liking, instead of saying the words, oh, this can't be happening, I can't believe this happening, I can't believe this person did this to me, I can't believe my sales are lower. Instead, we accept it. We say, this is happening, but this is what I could do about it. And this is how I can feel about it. Instead of just really being in denial and just keep going and having that dialogue of, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Lastly, you want to be compassionate to yourself and you want to let go of perfection. Perfection does not exist, no matter how much we strive. And sometimes we may think it's a good thing, it's a positive thing if we're a perfectionist. That's what I used to do. I used to say I'm a perfectionist and I would let things get to me, or I'd procrastinate and spend way too much time on certain things or let little things bother me. But instead, perfectionism is not a good thing. Accept it and try to be okay with things not being perfect. It could get close to perfect. You can do your best, but put a deadline, a timeline, and kind of a wiggle room for things to be okay the way they are, even if they're not perfect. Forget perfection. It doesn't exist. Things always look different than we expect, and they always, a lot of times, go in a different direction than we so clearly think that it's going to go. So accept the way things are, forget perfectionism, and be nice to yourself. We can't be perfect all the time. We make mistakes. We don't do things the way we should maybe sometimes, but it's okay. We're human. We all make those mistakes and we all have our bad moments. Hey, everybody does it. I think that's kind of comforting to know that nobody is perfect. Even the most perfect person that you look up to, I promise you, they're not perfect. And they make tons of mistakes because without the mistakes, they're not going to be able to grow. And I think mistakes are wonderful and beautiful. Hard times are wonderful and beautiful. It forces us to grow, to get to the next level. Now, I believe in that truly. That's why in today's world, anytime something negative is happening in my life or things aren't going exactly as I plan, instead of being sad or mad about it, I sit down and think, okay, how am I supposed to pivot maybe, or how am I supposed to work on myself to grow in order to get to X, Y, and Z? Let's have this as a fun challenge and see what the next thing brings, right? So I really think it's a matter of changing your mentality and the way you talk to yourself and the way you see things. And I'm really accepting the way things are today in order for you to be happy, successful, and run a successful business. I said lastly, but one last thing, control the controllables. Don't try to control everything. By accepting the way things are, it doesn't mean we're giving up and we're not doing anything about a certain thing that we're unhappy with. But control what you can control and accept the things the way they are that are out of your control. Do not dwell on them. But if there is something you can do about a certain thing, accept the way it is and then make your action steps to work towards it. Now, I know living in an acceptance state sometimes is really challenging, especially for my audience who are entrepreneurs and really want to do everything, get everything, and have the perfect life. But it is a practice. Little by little, we can change our mentality and really get to a place where we are accepting the way things are. We're happy in the present, but we are working towards greater accomplishment. But it's for the right reasons. It's not because we're conditioned to want more or want certain things because of the outside world and media and other people and our parents, right? But instead, we are really true to ourselves. We look within what's going to cause us happiness, what's going to give us fulfillment, what does true happiness mean to me? Do these goals really resonate with me? Or do I need to let go of certain expectations and really just live happily in the simplicity of the moment? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Until next time, bye. Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.